just start again, and then we'll just cut this entire bit and go from here.
It's not hard to cut out, but yeah, I'll send you the raw audio. But if you want to start over, if you want to.
Welcome, wayward souls, to a special bonus episode of Echoes from the Loam, as we set off across stormy seas to begin our journey across the Americas. This time, I am joined by my very good friend Zach from the most amazing true crime podcast, Murder Most British. Links to find them are in the description, and you'll find them tagged on socials, so please do go and check them out.
Hello there, I'm Zach, and I'm a Michigander, or from Michigan. And tonight, Fauna and I are opening the door to the things that never left, the cryptids of my home state. You might want to keep a lantern lit, and keep watch for the things that go bump in the night.
Hey Zach, thanks so much for joining us as we begin this journey.
Oh yes, I've been looking forward to this one.
So, cryptids of Michigan. To say you have some curious oddities would be an understatement.
Oh yeah, I mean, goodness. One of the weird ones is that, have you ever heard a squirrel scream? Not the chirp or chatter, I mean actually scream. In Amble, Michigan, we've got a real bizarre legend. A huge green squirrel the size of a Buick. It shows up after a few drinks at the bar, sure, but some folks swear they've seen it stone cold sober, towering over the hills with eyes like headlights and fur like moss. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not just a normal little squirrel.
Ah yes, the giant green squirrel of Amble, the perfect place to start our tour. So back when Amble had a cider mill and a sawmill, locals used to say the squirrel came from the orchard rot, born of pulp and rust, green as envy and loud as grief. It waits on the hill where the town forgot its name, apparently.
Oh yeah, cider mills, they're like everywhere, not far from where I grew up. Uncle John's cider mill. That was always the place to go.
That's amazing.
But it's not in the papers. It's not in the history books. But if you ask anyone from Amble, they'll tell you the hill's not empty. And if you hear the yelp, you don't go looking.
For a squirrel the size of a Buick, I'm not sure why anyone would go looking, save for the loss of their sanity. Moving on though, I also hear Michigan is home to 3 cryptids, a lot like Scotland's very own Nessie.
Oh, yeah, there's a few. There's many scattered around just the U.S. in general, but for us in Michigan, it's Pressy, Bessie, and Saggy. 3 legends that haunt the waters. Pressy of Lake Superior, Bessie of Lake Erie, and Saggy of Saginaw Bay.
So I've heard Pressy lives in the cold abyss of Lake Superior. 75 feet long, serpentine, horse-like head, and locals say she coils at the bottom, surfacing only when provoked or hungry.
Oh yeah, people don't realize how big and deep that Lake Superior is. Like you had big shipping ships with cargo in that. They would go back and forth. So like a big famous one would be the when the Edmund Fitzgerald sank. Like that was a huge ship. It's not just like this little lake.
That's crazy.
But
I think it's probably obviously for us over here, you know, when we say lake, lakes are big, but they're not, you know, Lake Superior might as well be an ocean big.
Yeah, that's what, you know, and it's all fresh water as well. But in 1894, 2 different steamer crews say they saw her rise and fall in the waves. And in 1977, a blurry photo showed something massive breaching the surface. So there have been reported sightings, with some saying she's as massive as a sturgeon. Not folklore at all.
Others say, however, that she's Misapeshu reborn, the water panther. But if you ask the old sailors, they'll tell you she's watching and waiting.
Well, the next one would be Bessie. She's been seen since 1817. 30 to 60 feet long, depending on who you ask, and snake-like. Gray or copper in color, sometimes with arms, sometimes with fins. They can't really seem to decide which one, but maybe it shapeshifts.
Well, in 1892, a ship crew swears they saw her wrestling with something unseen in the dark waters. And in the 1980s, 2 fishermen said she grabbed their boat and tried to tip it. The Coast Guard took to calling her the Lake Erie Monster.
Oh, kind of like a kraken trying to bring them down into the deep.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the most unfortunate name. There's Saggy. She's the quiet one. A long, dark serpent seen in Saginaw Bay. She doesn't attack, doesn't roar, just nudges the boats a bit, like a little playful cryptid there. It rubs its back on hulls like a cat, leaves fishermen shaken but unharmed.
But there's something about Saggy, harmless or not. It's like it's trying to remind us of something that we forgot. The memory that brushes past and leaves you feeling cold. Anyway, on to our next cryptid beast. They say it walks upright, 7 feet tall, blue eyes or amber, a scream like a man being torn in half. The Michigan Dogman isn't just another cryptid. It's a stark warning.
Is it possibly just a very hairy man who stubbed his toe out in the woods?
I mean, anything's possible. Folklore has to start somewhere, right?
I guess. But the Michigan Dogman was first seen in 1887 by 2 lumberjacks in Wexford County, described as having a man's torso and a dog's head. But the stories go back a bit further than that. Back to the Ottawa tribes, back to the Manistee River. And if the legends are true, it comes every 10 years, on years ending in 7. Though some say it's a bear, walking upright, and the rest is coincidence.
Yes, but others say it's a skinwalker, a shapeshifter. The Dogman's territory is the Manistee National Forest, which is a place of burial and a place of massacre, and trauma leaves a mark, not just on people but on the land. It walks upright because it remembers, and it's howling because we forgot.
Well, like where I grew up, not far from me, was the Chippewa tribe. So there's, Native Americans like scattered all over. And, it's pretty crazy to think maybe some of that old Native American heritage and traditions, and, that kind of goes hand in hand with being with the land and maybe skinwalkers and that. But with the Michigan Dogman, he waits in the woods for the next decade, the next year ending in 7.
Well, after that reminder not to go walking in the woods at night, we'll go on to our next cryptid. One that I have to say is very bizarre and slightly amusing.
Well, this one's, some people don't get this one right, but with the name, I can see where you're going though. This is in Ypsilanti, Michigan, in Frog Island Park.
Oh yes. Picture this, wanderers. You're walking the trail, it's dusk, you hear a flutter, a croak, and then you see it. A frog, covered in fur, with wings.
What the fuck? Well, the locals call it the Smeet Frog. And rumor has it that if you say, "Nice to smeet you," to a librarian downtown, you'll get a secret prize. Though I haven't managed to find out what it is. I guess that's part of the secret. Every September, Ypsilanti celebrates Smeet Fest. Kids build their own cryptids. Artists sketch new versions of it. Even Dungeons and Dragons characters have been inspired by the Smeet, apparently. I guess that's going to be my next character.
Absolutely. It's folklore in motion. It's a living myth, and maybe that's the point. The Smeet isn't scary. It's just strange. And sometimes, strange is exactly what we need.
Very, very true. The conjuring up the imagination, especially getting kids involved and having different kind of interpretations and that. So very, very cool.
And I have to say, this is where there's such a big difference, I think, in the USA and the UK, because could you imagine growing up hearing about a hairy winged frog called the Smeet Frog? Round here, that would just never work.
No. Whenever I think of European folklore and that, I always think of the Grimm brothers and Grimm's tales. Those are just horrific. Y'all just go dark. And we're like, yay, Smeet Frog, woo, let's make some cool drawings. And y'all are she's dead, and she burned, and, what the fuck?
100%, I have to agree. So, we're here with, vampires, werewolves, creatures of the night, and you guys kind of go, ooh, giant green squirrel.
Yeah, indeed. Well, next up, we go to Detroit. So Motor City, Motown City, it has a shadow that's not cast by buildings and not by history, but by something much, much smaller. They call him the Nain Rouge, the Red Dwarf. See? It's like the little dwarf guy,
It is said in 1701, Quebec, Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac threw a party. A fortune teller arrived. Black cat on her shoulder. She reads his palm, says he'll found a great city, but warns him, appease the Nain Rouge, do not offend him. Cadillac laughs, and years later he sees the dwarf on a Detroit path. Red face, grinning mouth. Cadillac strikes him with his cane. The Nain laughs, and Cadillac's fortune crumbles to ruins.
Mm-hmm. Can't just be going around smacking people, man. You should have been like, here you go, bud. Here's a coin.
And he was warned. Be nice.
Yeah. Well, and in 1763, during the Battle of Bloody Run, where 58 British soldiers died, witnesses say that the Nain danced among the corpses and that the Detroit River ran red for days. And in 1812, General Hull surrenders Detroit, blames the Nain. 1967, riots. 1976, ice storm, and the list goes on and on.
Ever thought that maybe the Nain isn't a monster? Maybe he's just a memory of every injustice, every ignored warning, and maybe, just maybe, we need him?
Yeah, kind of like a leprechaun's luck, that type of thing.
He's the anti-leprechaun.
Yeah. It's like the reverse. Well, that's very weird. But every spring, Detroit fights back, though. The Marche du Rein Rouge where hundreds gather to ward him off. Costumes are worn, music is played, and they chase the Nain out of the city, and then they burn him in effigy.
But he always returns. Some say he's evil. Others say he's misunderstood, a warning, not a curse. Who knows? But let's take a look at one last myth from your homeland. More specifically, Fresno.
Not in California.
No.
No. I like how if we overlap city names, and you're like, Fresno, you mean California? No, Michigan. Just like with, Michigan has Hell, Michigan. And they also have Paradise, Michigan. So
I have to say those are two of my most favourite place names, though. I just think that's, fantastic to have Hell and Paradise in the same place.
Yeah. And then my grandmother, I do believe she was born in Nashville, Michigan. You're like, wait a minute.
Not Nashville, Tennessee.
Nope. But what we're going for is the Fresno Nightcrawler, a creature so mysterious. It basically, it's one of those things where it's just a pair of walking trousers, or what we would call pants.
It's not just trousers, though, Zach. Ethereal, leggy beings gliding through suburban lawns like spectral ballet dancers. But no arms, no torso, just legs. Long and pale and oddly graceful.
Well, they were first spotted in 2007 on a grainy CCTV feed. A man in Fresno checked his security footage and he saw two figures, white, leg-like, no upper body, drifting across his yard. No sound and no explanation. They just wanted to dance in his yard.
And then again in Yosemite National Park, same vibe. Two nightcrawlers striding through the dark like they own the place. Some say they're aliens, others say they're spirits.
Well, let's get down to the facts. Well, folklore and that, facts, but no credible biological explanation. No follow-up sightings with clear evidence. Just shaky footage and internet lore. But isn't that the point? The Nightcrawler isn't here to be dissected, it's here to haunt. To remind us that not everything strange needs to be spine or a motive. Wait. Yeah, how would they move around without a spine? That's...
Or a torso.
Yeah. Weird.
Some local legends even claim they're nature spirits, like guardians of ancient lands. Their long legs help them navigate swampy terrain, and that their silence is a warning. But I'm starting to learn that Michigan seems to be full of the fluffier, cuter folklore tales. I mean, other than the exceptions of things like Dogman and, but you've got water creatures that don't hurt anyone. They just like to nudge the boats. Giant green squirrels who don't want to hurt anyone, just scream from the hills. And pants, or trousers, that just casually like to go for a stroll through people's gardens.
Yeah. This is where I go, I think, especially when settlers came, Michigan was very forested, just heavy, pine, a lot of pine trees and that. So I'm leaning more towards forest spirits and stuff like that are there to help, to warn, to nudge, to do the right thing, or to help people and to help nature. But that's my opinion. So, hopefully they're nice and that. So, but what do we do if we see one? Don't run. Don't scream. Just watch. And maybe, just maybe, it'll glide past you, leaving behind nothing but footprints and some questions.
Well, before we close the door on tonight's journey, I want to thank Zach for lending his voice, his memories, and his Michigan bones to this episode. It's the opening episode of our journey across North American folklore.
Yeah, America. But these stories aren't just folklore, they're inheritance. They are passed down in whispers, in roadside glances, in the silence between the screams.
The cryptids are real, not because we see them, but because we need them. And they know. They always know.
We meet the dogman in the woods, Pressy in the deep, Bessie in the churn, and Saggy in the quiet. We heard the yelp of the giant green squirrel, saw the flutter of the smeet frog, and watched the Nain Rouge grin beneath Detroit's bones. Good night from me and Michigan. Sleep tight, and if you hear a yelp, don't go looking.
So tonight, as you turn off the lights, as you check your locks, listen. Not for the footsteps or for growls, but for the silence.